Day in a New York federal courtroom, Sean Diddy Combs told the judge he was, quote, a little nervous. The rap mogul's criminal trial began this morning. He is trafficking, racketeering, and more. The two sides are now in the process of selecting a jury of 12 plus alternates.
So here's what came out of today's hearing. Number one, the government acknowledged that they offered Combs a plea deal. Combs acknowledged he has no interest in taking that. They're going to move forward with the trial. They also talked about the jury selection process, which one legal expert I spoke to said is probably the most important thing that you want to pay close attention to before the actual trial starts. And thirdly, we learned that Combs will be adding 2 new attorneys to his defense team.
Step inside the New York federal courtroom. The air hangs heavy, a palpable tension clinging to the mahogany benches and the hushed whispers that snake through the gallery. Sean Diddy Combs, once a symbol of swaggering success and boundless ambition, sits at the defense table. But today, the glitz and glamour have been replaced by a furrowed brow and a haunted gaze. Gone is the confident persona, the self-assured smile that once graced magazine covers and captivated millions. Instead, a quiet intensity radiates from his eyes, hinting at the internal battle raging within. This is more than just a trial, it's a potential cataclysm, a moment of reckoning that could dismantle the empire he painstakingly constructed, brick by hard-earned brick. The world watches, breathlessly, as the drama unfolds.
Mr. Depp built a reputation as one of the most talented actors in Hollywood, a respected artist whose name was associated with success at the box office. Today, his name is associated with a lie.
The first shockwave reverberated through the courtroom when it became known that Diddy had flatly rejected a plea deal offered by the prosecution. But why? What possesses a man facing such dire allegations to turn down what could potentially be a lifeline? Perhaps it's the overconfidence born from decades of success, a belief that his power and influence can overcome any obstacle. Maybe it's a strategic calculation, a gamble that the prosecution's case is built on shaky foundations and can be easily dismantled under the scrutiny of a trial. Or perhaps, deep down, there's a genuine belief in his innocence, a conviction that he has been wrongly accused and will ultimately be vindicated. Think of Martha Stewart, who faced prison time for insider trading and fought, convinced of her truthfulness. Compared to that, contrast it with Harvey Weinstein, who accepted a plea deal. The specific terms of the plea deal remain shrouded in secrecy, but we can imagine they involved some form of admission of guilt, a hefty financial penalty, and potentially a reduced prison sentence. For a man who has built his life on controlling his narrative, such a concession might have been seen as an unbearable defeat, a permanent stain on his legacy. Whatever the reason, Diddy's decision has catapulted this case into uncharted territory.
He is not being charged with crimes against Cassie. He's being charged with crimes against others. Cassie was paid and dismissed. Why is she being brought back into court after taking that man's money and testifying against him? That right there is clearly an excessive and abusive use of the law. Absolutely wrong. I do not like it. As far as Puffy asking for his case to be delayed, I agree with that. Remember, one of his lawyers recused himself, okay, at least one of them. So he probably has, some new people on his legal team. They got to get reacclimated and get caught up with what's going on. And I saw nothing wrong with him asking for a 2-month delay. He's already in jail. Y'all didn't give him bail, which y'all also think is a violation of his constitutional rights. So he should have got the 8-week delay. But here we go again. Deion Sanders. We want to make an example out of Puff. And of course, Deion wasn't accused of what Puffy is being accused of, but we want to make an example out of Sean Puffy Combs. He was too confident, he was too big, and it was time for us to bring him down.
The selection of the jury is not merely a procedural formality. It's a strategic battleground, a high-stakes game of psychological chess. The lawyers are trained to dissect every answer, to analyze every fleeting expression, to decipher the hidden biases lurking beneath the surface. It's a subtle art, requiring intuition, experience, and a keen understanding of human nature. Imagine a potential juror openly declaring their admiration for Diddy's music, reminiscing about the impact his songs had on their youth. Would that person be able to objectively assess the evidence against him, or would their judgment be clouded by nostalgia and personal attachment? Conversely, Imagine another juror revealing a history of personal trauma related to sexual abuse, a past that could make them particularly sensitive to the allegations against Diddy. Would they be able to remain impartial, or would their own experiences color their perception of the evidence? These are the complex questions that lawyers must grapple with during jury selection, knowing that the fate of their client hangs in the balance.
You also have a member of the team going through the social media of these jurors, making sure they didn't do anything. I mean, how much research can you do in terms of, did they search for something? Did they say something? I always am curious about that, because you come into court the next day and you always hear a prosecutor or defense attorney say, court, we have an issue we would like to bring to your attention. Juror number 5 was looking, it's like, how did they find that out? Is that what happens?
Well, it is in a high stakes case like this. I mean, as you know, not all clients have the resources to hire, jury consultants and to hire investigators. But in this case, you have a defendant who could theoretically be sentenced to life in prison, who has the means. So I'm sure, or I would think, that his counsel have a team of investigators following the jurors around to the extent they can and looking for any electronic footprint.
Enter Dr. Umar Johnson, a figure known for his provocative and often controversial commentary, injecting a volatile element into the already explosive mix. His perspective on the case, particularly his questioning of Cassie's motives and his seeming defense of Diddy, sparked a firestorm of debate across social media and beyond. Dr. Umar claimed why Cassie, after receiving money from Diddy, is getting involved with the court. His stance raises profound questions about victimhood, agency, and accountability. But what about other victims?
This morning, day 2 of jury selection in the racketeering and sex trafficking trial of Sean Combs, seen in court with graying hair. Federal prosecutors are trying to prove Combs used his power, wealth, and fame to force women into drug-fueled orgies he called freak-offs and then threaten them into silence.
The jury questionnaire warning potential jurors there may be evidence of sexually explicit videos, photographs, and language. Many prospective jurors said they had heard of the case, and this potentially damning evidence, video first obtained by CNN showing Combs knocking then-girlfriend Cassie Ventura to the floor of a Los Angeles hotel in 2016 and kicking and dragging her. It was upsetting to watch, one woman told the judge, but I don't know the full story, so I can listen to the facts.
Many prospective jurors said they recognized the names of other celebrities that might come up at trial.
Several potential jurors knew of Combs' cultural significance. The woman said she remembered him from Making the Band. A man said he liked to listen to hip-hop in the 1990s.
Can't nobody hold me down.
When Combs became a chart-topping artist. To remain in the jury pool, all had to say they could be fair. The judge tried to keep things moving, so when the defense asked for a bathroom break, Combs apologized, saying, "Sorry, Your Honor, I'm a little nervous today."
The arrival of Ben Chew, the legal titan who helped secure victory for Johnny Depp in his defamation trial against Amber Heard, signals a dramatic shift in strategy. Chew isn't just a lawyer, he's a master storyteller, a skilled manipulator of public perception. His expertise lies in framing the narrative, in shaping the way the jury and the world view the evidence. Is he trying to sway the jury to feel sympathy for him? By doing so, the defense has a better shot at defending Diddy.
You put Johnny Depp on the stand, it's always a high-risk strategy. It worked for you. If you were representing Sean Diddy Combs, would you put him up?
Well, we put Johnny up because he was telling the truth. So that was a very easy decision to make, and he had the burden of proof, and frankly, we couldn't have stopped him even if we wanted to, but we didn't want to. Telling the truth as he did over several days, you're not telling the truth, skilled attorneys on the other side are going to puncture that. I believe in that system. I think in this case, I don't think he's got any choice. Given that video, he's got to explain it. He's got to say that he's terribly sorry for it, but that was an aberration. That's not who he is. He simply has to say.
At the heart of this case lies a trove of evidence. Some sources are sexually suggestive photos, videos, etc. These acts are going to cause the jury to go wild. But are they valid? Does the jury have the maturity to listen to these claims? The evidence has a very high chance of putting pressure on Diddy. Jury selection is a high-stakes game of psychological profiling, a delicate dance of observation and deduction. Ben Chew suggested the defense might favor younger jurors, reasoning that they might be more open-minded and less easily shocked by the lurid details that are expected to emerge during the trial. Is this fair? Are young people more likely to listen to the defense? Some can claim it might be bias.
I think you want somebody who wants to serve, someone eager to serve, because that suggests that person might be inclined toward a celebrity like Diddy. I would also, in this case, I would want men, not because men support abuse, but I could see this being very difficult for women jurors. I would want younger jurors as well. I don't know that older jurors would be good for him.
Do you care where they get their news? Do you care if they go on social media?
I wouldn't care so much about social media. Certainly watching you on Law and Crime would be a real problem. But no, I wouldn't care too much. I mean, in fact, if they were reading the celebrity media, TMZ, Rolling Stone, that might be an encouraging thing for Diddy's counsel.
The decision to keep the jury anonymous underscores the high stakes and the potential for external influence in this case. It speaks volumes about the perceived dangers surrounding this trial, the level of animosity it has generated, and the lengths to which the court is willing to go to ensure a fair and impartial verdict. The jury wants to be protected from threats. The jury is extremely important. Then came Chopper, a figure from Diddy's past, with allegations that added another layer of darkness to the already complex narrative. What does he gain in this situation? Did he want to expose Diddy? Did he just want his 15 minutes of fame? There is a lack of support when it comes to the allegations. The thing that makes his claims so bold is his directness. However, they are all claims.
Diddy has a very good jury consultant, probably more than one, who is profiling the type of juror who would be most sympathetic to him. And I think it's wise for attorneys, even experienced attorneys, to defer for the most part to those jury consultants. Now, ultimately, it's the client's choice, and the client should be participating in the process, especially where it's here, his liberty is at stake.
And was that something that you had in your case where your client wanted to get involved in the jury selection process? Because it's been reported that Diddy has been almost like nodding to his attorneys or maybe even shaking his head regarding certain prospective jurors. Is that common? Is that what you saw?
I think that is common, and it's natural that you would want to have some role in in choosing the people who decide your fate.
Diddy has assembled a high-powered legal team led by Mark Agnello, a defense attorney known for his aggressive tactics and his willingness to take on controversial cases. The defense strategy is centered around discrediting. What are some tactics the defense is going to use? The world has to wait and see. The rejection of the plea deal looms large over this trial, a constant reminder of the high stakes involved. Where does Diddy go if he loses? What will he do? Where will the money go? No one knows.
So I don't know, bro. I'm talking about celebrities. I'm talking about big time celebrities. You dig? I was just young city. I was just Chopper. You heard me? But to see like the juggernauts, the big dogs, you dig? The people we grew up watching, it was kind of exciting too. It was weird, exciting, and because you can't believe that you're here. They are accepting you. But I don't really think they was accepting it. They just was having fun. They didn't give a who was there. And it was kind of like a situation towards, what you see in here don't go outside. It was kind of like that, if that makes sense. Whatever happens in here stays in here, because everybody got something to lose in here. So it was kind of like that too. So I guess that made people be okay and willingly able to do whatever they wanted to do in there. You heard me? Because they knew that at the end of the day, it wasn't going to come back out up there. That's why people were so eager and fun to do what they wanted to do in there. Just my opinion. Because everybody has something to lose.
Expand on the reasons for keeping the jury anonymous, exploring the potential threats and harassment they might face from Diddy's supporters, the accuser's advocates, the media, and other interested parties. Discuss the psychological impact of anonymity on the jurors, considering the potential for increased fear, paranoia, and a heightened sense of responsibility, as well as the potential for feeling detached from the consequences of their decisions. Analyze the potential for bias. If jurors are aware of the reasons for their anonymity, considering the possibility that they might be more likely to favor the prosecution or the defense, depending on their perceptions of the threats they face. explore the broader implications of anonymous juries for transparency, accountability, and public trust in the legal system, considering the potential for undermining the public's right to observe and scrutinize the administration of justice.
When I'm when I'm walking, you heard me, I walk into this room. You heard me, I walk into this room and I've seen all types of what'd you call it? Dominatrix looking dildos and sex toys and all types of weird shit. That was in my head. Like, to be honest with you, I didn't, at this time, I was green ass, so I wasn't thinking it was like Diddy's room. I thought it was more like Diddy be like bringing girls over and just doing all types of crazy shit. But knowing what I know now, that nigga's a fucking freak. Yeah, so yeah, I've been to his house in style and I seen dildos, sex toys, and all types of weird shit in there. Definitely.
Provide a comprehensive analysis of Chopper's allegations, exploring his potential motives for coming forward, his credibility as a witness, and the potential for his testimony to influence the outcome of the trial. Examine the challenges of verifying the accuracy of his claims, considering the lack of independent corroboration, the passage of time, the potential for memory distortion, and the possibility that he is motivated by revenge, financial gain, or a desire for attention. Discuss the impact of his allegations on Diddy's public image, exploring the court of public opinion and the challenges of separating fact from fiction in the age of social media. Consider the legal and ethical implications of relying on potentially unreliable testimony, weighing the importance of seeking justice for alleged victims against the risk of convicting an innocent person based on hearsay and speculation.
One of the producers over there at MTV at the time, who was super cool guy. He actually had the camera walking with us, you heard me, to Brooklyn to get the cheesecake. The first Art Dialogue interview, you heard me, that I did, he DM'd me and I definitely talked to him. He was like, yeah, bruh, how you been, Chop? I'm like, I'm straight, bruh. Appreciate you hitting me. Long time. He like, yeah, bruh, I appreciate your interview, you heard me, that you did on Art of Dialogue. I said, thank you, I appreciate you, bruh. And he was like, you ever notice why I was shooting with y'all and then all of a sudden you haven't seen me after that? And I'm like, yeah, I do. I said, why is that? He said, because one time Diddy invited me to his office and told me to suck his dick. And he was like, he said, I damn near wanted to kill him, bro. He was like, I left the office and I quit.
Reiterate the significance of Diddy's rejection of the plea deal, considering the potential outcomes of the trial and their long-term consequences for his career, his legacy, his personal life, and the lives of those around him. Speculate on the future of his business empire, his philanthropic endeavors, his relationships with family and friends, and his place in cultural history. Discuss the broader implications of the trial for the music industry, the Not Me Too movement, the pursuit of justice for victims of sexual abuse, and the ongoing struggle to hold powerful individuals accountable for their actions. End with a powerful and thought-provoking question that lingers in the viewer's mind, encouraging them to reflect on the complexities of the case and the broader issues it raises, and prompting them to share their thoughts and opinions in the comments section.